first of all, we have these baseline things that you have to keep in mind throughout all of my tips. I'm going to go into school, work, relationships, etc. But through all of this, remember these things. Hi and welcome back to Zoëthopia, where we believe that knowledge is power. My name is Zoe Robertson. I'm here to empower you through knowledge and motivation, and I am not a professor. Let's get to learning. And in today's video, we are learning about confidence. And this isn't a fluffy and pretty confidence video. This is me really sitting down to give you the full confidence guide. And I promise you that if you follow the tips in this video, not only will you become more confident, you will also be perceived as more confident, which is honestly arguably even more important. So let's get into it. Obviously, confidence is important because of the way we feel about ourselves. But beyond that, confidence is often a ticket to better pay, better positions, better grades, succeeding in relationships, succeeding in friendships. And because of this, confidence is one of the most important things we can have. And that is why it's so unfortunate that a lot of people struggle with confidence. But here's the silver lining. Getting more confident is actually not as hard as you may think. And today I'm going to teach you how. So first of all, we have these baseline things that you have to keep in mind throughout all of my tips. I'm going to go into school, work, relationships, etc. But through all of this, remember these things. And these all fall under the category of fake it till you make it, where we are gonna physically exude confidence in order to be perceived as more confident and in order to feel more confident ourselves. So I'm just gonna rapid fire these. First of all, stand up straight or sit up straight. Confident people don't sit and slouch. Like, yes, I can be like this when I'm talking to you. That's because I'm talking to you and you can obviously lean in. But if you're in a meeting or if you're in a room or if you're in any setting that isn't like super relaxed and chill, like with your family or friends, this is your posture. This will definitely make you appear more confident and also more professional. And this is super important for school presentations. Secondly, look people in the eye. Confident people look people in the eye, and this is a way to influence people, and people will listen more to what you have to say. Thirdly, always meet people with a firm handshake. Whenever someone gives me like the wet fish, I'm like, okay, so this is not a confident person, and this is not a person of authority, and this is my conscious. My subconscious is sort of devaluing everything they're saying because they give me the impression of not being a firm person, of being weak in a way. And fourth, smile. We tend to smile when we're relaxed, and also smiling makes other people feel more relaxed with you. Fifth, speak assertively. Don't say, like, maybe, or what do you think? If you're doubting yourself in your own sentence, then others will most definitely doubt you, which in turn will make you doubt yourself more. Sixth, talk even when you're scared. A lot of being confident is not being afraid to share your opinion. And Mel Robbins taught me that one way you can do this is to practice sharing your opinion by just agreeing with others' opinions. So you don't have to go on a full tangent. You don't even have to say much. You can just be in a group and someone says, I think we should go for tacos. And you can say, oh my God, yes, I agree. I want tacos. And then you have shared your opinion, but you haven't like fully put yourself out there. But eventually you'll be the one saying like, hey, I actually don't want tacos today. Today I want sushi. Seventh, I also learned from Mel Robbins, which is to stand with your body weight evenly and not cross your arms. And I know that to my bisexual kings and queens, standing with your body weight evenly, and also to those with ADHD, might be a challenge, but it is necessary. Because if you're standing like this, like if you're if you're leaning, people will actually perceive you as not being very firm, and also you're sort of telling your body that you're insecure as well. So just try to again, keep a good posture and don't cross your arms. If you're crossing your arms, like, you're just standoffish, and being standoffish is not a confident trait, and it's also not a likable trait. Moving on to more general advice, but not physical. One thing that has always helped me with my confidence is to highly value the things that I am good at. For me, I have always been a lot better at academics than at sports, so naturally I value academics a lot higher than I value sports. For example, if you're very artsy, just value being artsy and just recognize what good of a trait that truly is. And the second thing here is to actually practice and spend time doing the things you're good at so that you feel yourself to be a capable person. So if you're really good at drawing, then draw more, and then not only will you be spending more time doing something that you love and that makes you feel good about yourself, but also you'll actually get better at drawing. And the third part of this tip is to actually help others with the things you're good at, which will make you feel so much better about yourself. First of all, helping others feels good. Secondly, helping others will make them value you higher, and then that will boost your confidence. And thirdly, it just goes to show you that there's something about you and your abilities that is so valuable that others want your help, not only because they think you're really good at this thing, but also because they trust you and trust in your guidance. And that's gotta make you feel a little bit good about yourself, right? The other side to this is that you also have to accept what you're not good at. And honestly, just joke about it. Like, am I in super terrible shape? No. But have I been the slowest runner in every single class I've been in, except for university? I don't know, probably not because I took history, but I don't remember the words in English, but like my children's school, basically, high school, upper secondary school, I was the slowest runner, and that could have really took a hit to my confidence. If it wasn't for that, I know that I'm really good at other stuff, and running just isn't for me. And making a joke about it has helped me, not in like a class clown way, and don't degrade yourself or anything, but just be like I remember we had indoor hockey, and I was doing kind of fine when we were practicing, but then I got like super like performance day, and I was missing everything, and like my team lost so hard. And someone in my class was trying to be nice to me. She's like, that could have happened to the best. And I was like, yeah, it could have, but it happened to the worst. And you know, it was just fun, it was just funny. And I'm sure it sucked a little for my team to have me there, but they were very nice about it, and they realized that like, okay, Zoe also knows that she's not the best, and it's fine. She doesn't feel bad about it, because it also makes others feel bad when you feel bad about something. I'm not saying not to feel bad about something. Sometimes when we suck at something, it hurts our feelings or makes us sad, and you're allowed to express that. But sometimes they're just things, they're just not our cup of tea. You don't have to be the best at everything, and it's better for everyone involved if you just take it in stride. That being said, if there's something in your life that you're not the best at, but that you would want to improve on, or that you feel really insecure about, absolutely work on that. Just spend a night or a week or something researching it or practicing it, whatever it is, until you feel a little bit more confident on that. And we don't have to be an expert in everything, but sometimes it's nice to know a little bit about this, a little bit about that, to feel more confident in conversations with others. And oftentimes things are so big and scary and confusing when we don't know them, and then when we do, it's like, oh, that's pretty simple, and then we can feel better about ourselves. And now this is where my advice maybe seen as toxic, but to me it's realistic, because we are moving into how to feel more confident in social situations. And one of my tricks that I've especially used when I have days where I feel bad about myself and that I have shared with others. If you're in a room with a lot of other people and you feel bad about yourself, to find something about yourself that makes you stick out in a positive way. If you're feeling really good about your height, like if you're the tallest person in the room, or if you have the biggest biceps, or if you feel really beautiful, or intelligent, or if you're in a competition where you're singing and playing guitar and other people might be better singers than you, but you're the best at guitar, just stuff like that. If you have the coolest shoes, anything that makes you feel like, okay, yeah, I can stand my own. And then once you're like, okay, it's fine because I have the longest, the most luscious hair in the room, then seek out positive qualities in the people around you. See, it's not super toxic. Because then what you're gonna do, and this is call it a tactic. It's something I do naturally, but it's something that I've always done, is to start a conversation with someone that you're interested in getting to know with a compliment, a true, sincere compliment. If there's a girl at a party that I would like to talk to that I'm like, oh, so she seems cool, I just like look at her and I'm thinking, okay, like what do I really like about her outfit, or does she have awesome hair or something like that? And then you just go up to them and be like, oh my god, your hair is super cool. And they'll be like, oh my god, thank you. Now you started a conversation with making them feel good, which in turn makes them feel better about you, which makes you feel better about the situation. And so then you go into questions like, oh my god, I love your hair. What hair dye did you use? Which company? Oh, that's so cool. Where can you get that if they did it by themselves? Blah, blah, blah. And then just like, oh, are you from around here? Blah, blah, blah. Random questions. And then like, oh my god, what's your name, by the way? And then you get their name and you're in, baby. And that is a good way to start a conversation in a way that is positive. And then another thing that I personally do, which makes me feel more confident because like I know what's up, is to always have a goal in mind. And yes, pursuing a romantic or sexual connection can be a goal. If you really want to get a guy's phone number, then honestly that is a great goal to have. Then you know, like, okay, that's the deal. So you're gonna flatter him, make him like you, show off your most attractive sides, but blah blah blah. If you're trying to make a business connection, obviously you're going to talk about like what you have in common, what you could do for each other, what are your qualifications, but not in a way that's super obvious. And it's like a fun game. The game is always like, okay, this is what I want. And it doesn't have to be malicious. It can be to make a friend. This is what I want and this is how I'm gonna get it, but in a way where it's not super obvious and I'm almost gonna make it seem like their idea. The idea here is that you'll be more confident because you're 100% in control of the situation. You're controlling the conversation. You are pursuing what you want, and you're also just making the other person feel as good as possible in the process. If you want to know more about the art of conversation with having a goal in mind, what I would really recommend to you is to read Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Negotiating as if your life depended on it. I think there are a lot of lessons here that aren't just applicable for like negotiations, but also just conversation in general. From my research while I was like planning this video, it seems to me that a lot of the people who are interested in confidence advice also struggle with social anxiety or with social performance. And I think that a lot of being confident in social situations is just knowing sort of what works. And I know that not all social cues and social intelligence comes naturally to everyone, and therefore I think that having information and knowing about this and knowing like what to say is very useful, and therefore I would recommend that book in that capacity. And that's also sort of why I went into how to start a conversation, because I really think that having information like that really builds your confidence. And also another tip for being confident in a situation like that is to really listen to what the other person is saying and focusing more on what they're saying than what you're going to say next. Then you're really in the moment and you'll actually gain the information, and then you won't be like a fool when you don't remember what you do for work. And also you'll sort of take the pressure off yourself by focusing on a different person. And now on to tips for how to be confident in the workplace. First of all, I know a lot of us are insecure and wondering whether or not people like you, and you have to stop doing that. If you're at work, you're there for work. Again, it's about having the goal in mind. The capacity to which people like you is only important if you have a personal connection with them. So it's fine if you have friends at work, though that should never be the goal at work. But if you have customers, the goal isn't for the customer to like you. The goal is for the customer to buy stuff from you or to get help from you, whatever you work with. And the same with your colleagues. More importantly than being liked is being respected, okay? And my advice here would be not to focus on people liking you personally, but more on focusing on being an asset and on being someone that people really want to work with, that people enjoy working with, and that people see as someone they can come to with questions about your field of expertise, that people trust. That is much more important, and people don't care so much about your TV show preferences as they care about how good you are at your job. Imposter syndrome is a bitch, but it's also a liar. Most of us, in some degree, especially women, struggle with imposter syndrome, but you have to just remember, if you got the job, you got the job. The thing is also, if you're new at a job, we're not supposed to know everything going in. That's not why we're hired. You're not hired for a position because you worked in this position for 10 years, you know everything about this position. You're hired because you have certain qualities that align with that position that you're going to work on and improve. You're going to get to know the role, grow into the role. And asking for help is fine. Working on things is good. It's how it's supposed to be. There's no reason for you to have imposter syndrome. If you got the job, you got the job. Other people didn't get the job because you were the right fit, okay? And if you're struggling to remember that, go over your accomplishments. First of all, getting the job is an accomplishment. Look at your professional accomplishments. Also look at your accomplishments from school that have led you to this, or from previous jobs. And just remember, honestly, how capable, how intelligent, how bright, and how amazing you are, and why you were hired and why you're better for this position than others. Literally remind yourself, go over your mind and think about your highlight reel. That should help. And this is really an instance where helping people will really make you feel better. If someone is struggling with something, or if you're mentioning they're going to do something that is something that you're good at, for example, if it's a computer thing, or for me, often when people have to translate something into English, I'll step in and be like, hey, I can help you, I can look over that or something. Do that, and then not only will you give of yourself and your expertise, and then be showing everyone who's there that you have that expertise, but also, again, as I mentioned, helping others makes you feel better about your own abilities. And confidence really comes down to our beliefs in our own abilities. I believe it's like our abilities, qualities, and decision making. In a completely different way, it can be totally worth it to get up an hour earlier to just like do your hair, do your makeup, pick out an outfit if you're struggling with confidence at work or at school. And this is good also because a lot of the times, if we present ourselves in a more put together way, you will also get higher pay and get promotions quicker. Pretty privilege is really real, so that is just something we're living with. And obviously you don't have to do this. Personally, I usually don't put on makeup to go to work, but that is because I'm really comfortable at the place I work, and I'm also not looking for any promotions right now. But when I worked other places, or especially when I'm new at a job, I always do that just to make myself feel better. Because honestly, when you feel better about yourself, when you feel like you physically look better, it is so much easier to look people in the eyes and to speak loud and clear and assert yourself. And like I said in like the beginning of this video, those are two of the most important things, and especially at work. And it's not even about just about your confidence. It's not just about your feelings. It is about getting what you deserve. And sometimes we have to put on a show to get what we deserve. So absolutely don't feel silly for that. We feel better when we look better. That is just a fact. And yeah, that is such an easy way that you can increase your confidence, is to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna do something new with my hair today, or I'm gonna do a full face of makeup, or I'm gonna wear this new skirt. You're 100% in control of that, and that is why it's such a great trick. And also, going back to the thing that I said, that you're hired for a reason, and looking at your highlight reels, if you're struggling to remember anything because of anxiety or just doubting yourself, then you can also ask someone, like your best friend or your mom or something, like, why do you think I even got this job? Or like, okay, what have I done that I should be proud of? And they will give you an answer, or 1,000 answers, and then you can just keep those in mind. So whenever you're in a meeting and you're feeling like, fuck, do I belong here? Just be like, oh my god, yeah, I graduated with a 4.0 GPA, or hey, I've held on a job since I was 14, or like, I literally have more experience than anyone around this table. Like, why am I doubting myself? It's just, play that in your mind. A lot of confidence is just hyping yourself up, honestly. It is just continually reminding yourself that you are awesome. I think that's why I've a lot of the times been very confident in social situations, even though I have social anxiety. It's because like I'm my own hype man. I will just like go to the bathroom, look myself in the eyes in the mirror and be like, you are fucking awesome and I love you. If that makes me cringe, I don't care. I really don't. It works. You know, like corny moms and dads, that's why they're super corny, or teachers. And that's also helped me because I worked as a substitute teacher for a couple of years, and no matter what you do, you're kind of cringe and you just grow into becoming cringe in a role. But the thing is, like, cringe or corny teachers and moms and dads are cringe and corny because they don't care, because they are confident. They are just laughing at their own jokes, wearing their stupid outfits, having their dumb mustaches, just living life with their bare bellies and being happy. That's the goal, you know, just being happy. And so like, if you fall down, you dust yourself off, get up. And if I'm talking to myself in a mirror, hyping myself up, and with that, like actually making my social anxiety better, that's what I'm doing. Oh, this is something to remember. If you have a presentation at a job, if you have a presentation, if you have an interview, anything like that that is stressing you out, rehearse, and not just rehearse, also do a lot of research. Especially job interviews, the key to getting a job is to just know everything about the company. A lot of confidence comes down to just being prepared. Why wouldn't you be confident about a presentation that you've rehearsed 15 times, you know inside and out? Why wouldn't you be confident in an interview where you have the answer to every single question, not just the answer, the perfect answer? There's no reason, and not just prepare, also visualize. I thought I mentioned this earlier, I didn't. Okay, visualization is one of my greatest tricks for confidence, and you can use it for everything. Like professional athletes use it for games. I think a lot of singers use it for concerts. Me personally, I use it for planning my day, tests at school, presentations, job interviews, dates, you name it. And the technique is as follows. You close your eyes and you envision the entire thing you're going to do. If you're having a presentation, you gather your papers, you get up, you look at your papers, you're saying things, you're looking at your you're looking at your workmates. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. You continue to talk. They're still amazed. And afterwards you say, thank you. That will be all. Woo! The thing is that your mind actually, I learned this by Mel Robbins also, your mind actually can't tell the difference between things you're visualizing and things you're actually experiencing in real life, which is awesome, because if you visualize something, then your mind thinks, oh, she's done this before. Oh, he's already been here. No problem. Which will make you feel more calm, cool, and collected, and therefore confident because, hey, you've done it before. And also, like, it kind of feels like nothing can go wrong when you've gone through every single scenario, you know, like you know how to tackle everything. And even though it's not the reality, that's how it feels. Now moving on to personal connections. First of all, your friends are spending time with you because they already like you. You don't have to convince them. You don't have to be someone else. You don't have to feel ashamed of your personality, of your parents, of how you are as a person, because they like you. That is why they're friends with you. So just remember that, like, these people like me. Secondly, in order to build self-esteem, you have to pretend like you already have it. It's back to the fake it till you make it. But in this instance, what we're talking about is stuff like respecting your own boundaries and making other people respect them. That doesn't have to be like super serious things, but that can be like, you know what? I actually don't want another drink. I'm not a party animal. I actually want to be home at 10 p.m. Or thank you, but no thank you. I don't want to go skydiving. Which in return leans into the next thing, which is learning to say no. No is a super magical word. It's a wonderful word, and it's a word we all have to use more. As Rachel Hollis says, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. if you're getting this feeling in your gut, like, I don't really want to do that, but I love them, I don't want to disappoint them, I don't want them to feel like I don't support them. No, say no. Love does not mean being uncomfortable. Why would you feel worse about your life to make someone else feel better? And a lot of this comes back to, like, people treat you how you treat yourself. So you gotta start treating yourself better. Obviously, take care of your personal hygiene, but also practice self-care. Do face masks, go out for massage, work out, give yourself grace, sleep longer if you need to, take days off. Also, start putting yourself first, prioritizing your own needs, respecting yourself, and not apologizing for your own existence as so many of us do. And here's another one that I learned from Mel Robbins that I really think will help your self-esteem. Don't say, I'm sorry when someone is accommodating to you. Say, thank you for your consideration. For example, for me, I'm a vegan. So instead of saying, I'm so sorry that we had to go to this restaurant since those don't have any vegan options, I know this isn't what you wanted, say, oh thanks, I'm so glad we could go to this restaurant instead so that I could also join. I really don't want to just sit there and have a tomato, you know, like, I'm just happy I can get a pizza, so thanks. That makes other people feel less uncomfortable because you apologizing for dumb things is just like, oh, shut the fuck up. And also, it will make you feel better. Like, oh my god, my friends support me and I can say thank you and it's not awkward, it's actually just pretty nice. And now to the moment you've all been waiting for. Romance, yay! Coming from me, who literally just broke it off with a person I was actually going to marry, which I never talked about on this channel. I was engaged, and now, as of 2 weeks ago, I am not. But still, I have had my fair share of romantic connections in my 23 years. Oh my god, first of all, before we go into romantic connections, something which is actually applicable to romantic connections as well, but was on the point before, learning to cut out toxic people. All attention isn't good attention, all love isn't good love, it's actually not always even love. And if someone is consistently making you feel bad, whether that's a friend, a boyfriend, someone you're hanging out with at work, or someone in your family, cut them off, push them out. It is not worth it. And honestly, how are you supposed to grow and become a more confident person when you have a toxic person that is holding you back? Personally, I've experienced with family members who've said like, okay, you're too confident, you talk too much, blah, blah, blah. And now as an adult, taking that into consideration, I'm like, yeah, I am not going to talk to those persons a lot at all. And learning to do that also ties back to self-respect, because honestly, it puts a strain on your self-respect and your self-esteem, giving attention and love to people who are trying to cut you down. Similarly, not taking the blame for how other people treat you. This is also something that will destroy your confidence over time if you think that you are the reason why someone is talking down to you, taking things away from you, saying cruel things to you, physically abusing you, any of these things, or just being a bad person towards you. If you think, oh, I'm provoking them, oh, it's because I'm like this, it's because I'm like that. No, it's because they are a bad person. And not only do you need to cut them out, you also need to remember that you are not to blame. If that is your situation, get out as safely as you can, and if need be, seek help. And now to the romance, yay, woo! First of all, again, people treat you how you treat yourself, so it's important that you already treat yourself before you go into the relationship, but also it's about actively setting a standard for how to be treated. And if you have low self-esteem, your standards for how to be treated probably won't be so high. Which is why I would like you to set standards that you would expect of a person who you love, or a role model of yours, or an ideal version of yourself. And these can be standards and it's all up to you, but for example, it can be like no sex until you're actually in a relationship, or no McDonald's meals, only real restaurants, or no first dates that are like coffee or movie or something like that. Like you'll always have a first date at a restaurant, or like don't talk to me this way, don't do that. Or if you love good morning texts and good night texts, and you have to establish that in the start of the relationship, everything you want to have in a year's time, you have to establish at the beginning. And if you allow something to happen at the beginning, then it's going to continue to happen. So that is super important to keep in mind. And having someone treat you in a certain way will also build your confidence, because you'll see like, oh my God, I'm actually worth this. Not just my friend, not just my role model, me, I am worth this and that, you know? Which should just build you up and make you feel good and make you feel better in your relationship, which will also make your relationship stronger. For me personally, one standard that I hold, that I believe that every woman should hold for themselves, is not having a guy telling you to change your outfit or critiquing it in a way that like it's too revealing, or just other controlling stuff like that. For example, saying you can't have any guy friends, that is just stuff like that is just bullshit, and it shouldn't be tolerated in 2023. The thing that's hard about all this is that you have to keep up a standard for how you're treated, even if you don't believe initially that that is what you deserve. And it's hard because a lot of us just crave validation and attention and want to take it in whatever form we get it. The thing is that, yes, this also involves cutting out people, cutting relationships short. But what you really need to keep in mind here is that there truly is something better out there that you are deserving of. And whatever you have to do to believe this, then do that. Positive affirmations, talking to your friends, talking to your family, turning to the universe, turning to God, whatever you need to do to just be sure like, okay, I'm cutting this off, but there's something better out there for me. Some real love, a real connection, someone who will actually treat me with respect. If you're spiritual in any way, shape, or form, you know that God or the universe does not want you to be treated poorly in a relationship. And just keep that in mind. So we're quickly going to go over how to feel more confident in your appearance. And I know that this is very different for everyone, and I know that we all have separate struggles. I'm not going to pretend like I can relate to being a very short man or having bad acne or anything like that. So this is not me trying to invalidate anyone's experience whatsoever, and that is also why I just want to briefly touch on it, because I am by no means an expert. These are just some things that have helped for me. Just as I mentioned on the work section, I really feel like experimenting with makeup, hair, and clothes, or facial hair and stuff for men is something that can really help you feel more confident and just better about yourself. I feel more confident in filming this video because I have like makeup I like. I have this awesome necklace that I think I'm debuting. No, I wore it for my cousin's wedding, but that's the only other time. This Spanx onesie that I am actually debuting. This braid that I forced my mom to braid even though she was busy. So yeah, that is making me feel more confident in talking to you, and that is totally valid. I also think just being around people who love you for the real you inside out would just make you more overall confident, and that goes for your parents as well. And especially being around your family and stuff, who will always tell you you're beautiful or handsome. But also something that always helps for me is like eating healthy and working out. I have this toxic trait where when I work out like twice and just drink a little bit of water, I just feel like I can like see my abs. I feel so much better about myself. I just like nothing changes really. I just worked out a couple of times. I'm like looking in the mirror like, wow, I've been working out. Like nothing is different. It's just my feelings, and that's awesome. And then also thinking about your favorite parts of your appearance and what you actually love and value. If you hate your nose, then don't think about your nose. Think about your gorgeous big eyes, you know? Which again goes back to like finding what makes you stick out in a positive way. And then also, you know, play on that, accentuate that. Like I know we sometimes make fun of guys with super tight t-shirts and big muscles, but honestly, if what you love most about yourself is your big muscles and you want to accentuate that, then be my guest. For me, as a straight woman, I mean, really be my guest. Thank you. You're doing God's work. In a similar vein, if you love your eyes, experiment on eye makeup. If you have like super long hair, do cool things with your hair, or just have it big and just show it off. So like that, it'll make you confident. If you're tall, stand up extra straight, you know, show off your height. I do this a lot when I feel a little bit, when my confidence is a bit in the dumps, or if I'm in a verbal confrontation with especially a man, I'll just like stand up tall and be like, I am so tall, I am so powerful, come at me, bro, you know, and just be like, oh yes, that is a very interesting point. Super petty, but it's making me feel good, making me feel more confident, and I'll be a better argumenter. Again, hyping yourself up and just being like, wow, just look in the mirror, look at, if you love your, again, back to the eye example, if you love your eyes, just look in the mirror and just really take it in and be like, wow, those are pretty good eyes. Okay, so I know a lot of people have the opposite effect, but to me, taking selfies with pretty filters really make me feel pretty, because I'm just like seeing myself in like an optimal thing where like I'm not focusing on any blemishes or acne or something that is a little bit off. I'm just seeing like the good parts, like everything's just accentuated in a perfect way. I'm just like, oh my god, this is so gorgeous. It's like, wow, it's making me feel more pretty, even though I know I'm not walking around with a filter, but just seeing that and seeing how like beautiful your face can be when you're not focused on the small faults or, you know, this whatever, just makes you remember what beautiful features you actually have. A couple of mantras, and I actually have a full video. This is a plugin that I hadn't actually planned, but I just remembered now when I was like saying mantras that I actually have a full video from like 2018 of mantras to combat anxiety. But anyways, yeah, so I'll link that, and these are two mantras that I use for confidence. First of all, what other people will think of you is none of your business. And this is really true. It's like, it doesn't matter. If people are talking behind your back, if people have private thoughts, what does it matter? The only thing that really matters is what's happening practically. If people are saying bad things to your face, that's a problem. And if you're getting a salary cut, that's a problem. If your teacher is giving you worse grades because they don't like you, that's a problem. If someone from your high school is talking behind your back, that's not a problem. That's not even existing. Like, where is that? Where are the people from my high school? They aren't in this room, you know? It really doesn't matter. So yeah, what other people think of you is none of your problem. No, it's none of your business. And then another one, this is super powerful, from Miss RuPaul. If they ain't paying your bills, pay them bitches no mind. This sounds funny, but it's really, really true. Unless there's something that you need from someone. For example, like I said, if your teacher is grading you, it matters that they like you because that affects your grades. If you have a boss, unless you're the best at the job ever, it does matter whether or not they like you because they'll give you opportunities, blah, blah, blah. Basically, everyone else doesn't really matter. It doesn't. If you're at a party, 50% like you and 50% don't, who cares? Still have the 50%. Also, you can totally chat with people who don't necessarily like you or love you, can still have a good time. There are a lot of people who I like spending time with who I don't necessarily like a lot as people. Not that there's anything wrong with them or their character or something, just like, yeah, they're fine, you know, but we can't be liked by everyone. So it's more important to focus on the people who do like you and just recognize that usually the people who do like you are the people you have most in common with, you'll have the most fun with. And if someone at your job doesn't really like you, or if someone in your class doesn't like you, who cares? They're not giving you any money. You're not getting paid for them to like you. You're not getting grades for them to like you. You're not getting a bigger house. You're not getting a more toned stomach. Like, there are no benefits to them liking you except for like a warm fuzzy. Get your warm fuzzy somewhere else. Who cares? Yeah, definitely more important to be liked by the right people, and the right people are the people that like you, so it's not even something to consider. The thing is, if no one likes you, then you have a problem. If most people hate you, then it's a you problem, and then this isn't even enough. Like, my tips aren't even enough. Then you have to look into yourself, like, really, really, truly, and just get it together. But if 50% of people don't like you, yeah. Yeah, this is why I need confidence, because every day, at least one point in the day when I'm drinking something, I spill it on my face, especially when I wear makeup. And this doesn't just happen like when I'm filming a party and not paying attention, when I'm filming a video and not paying attention. This happens like at work, at parties, and meetings. That's my life. I'm a klutz. And if I were to be embarrassed every time that happened, I would spend a lot of time being embarrassed. Practical advice. First of all, get out of your comfort zone. What's the saying? Everything worth having is just outside of your comfort zone. You just need practical experience being in uncharted territories and not knowing what to do, where to go, and sort of feeling a little anxious in order to start being a person who is calm in every situation, because something new isn't new, you know? And this is great because not only might you learn that you're actually really good at something new, meet a lot of awesome people, stuff like that, but also you can learn that you suck at something. And failing and just falling flat on your ass is one of the best things. Like I said, I just poured Monster in my face without fretting. That's because I'm the most clumsy person in the world, so I have fallen in front of like basically every single person I know. And I just, like, I don't know, make a fool of myself all the time, I guess. And that is, when you do that, you know, you're just gonna be confident. I don't get embarrassed for falling flat on my ass. I'm just like, oh, I fell flat on my ass. Feels like being Zoe Robertson. And that makes other people be like, oh, yeah, well, as long as you're fine. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And we just move on. However, if my face was entirely red and I was like, oh my God, no, then people would laugh at me. Yeah. So just getting used to failing and making mistakes. Like I said, like, I suck at sports, so I don't really feel bad about that. And if you try out ceramics and turns out you suck at ceramics, but you take it in stride, you learn that, oh, it's actually fine to try new things. And then next week you try crochet, and like, you're like a crochet champion, and then you'll feel really good about yourself because you're like, oh my God, I had no idea I could do this. This is awesome. One of my best things that have ever happened for my confidence is like, and I painted this wall, and this wall that you can see in the mirror here by myself, and also like I have IKEA furniture here I put up myself. I was like, oh my God, I can actually do a decent job at painting. I can put up my own furniture. I can do that myself. Like, I did this. Me, I didn't need anyone. That makes me feel really, really good about myself. Makes me feel more capable, more like an adult. And I was just shocked because I thought like, okay, I'm not really good at practical things, so I'm just gonna try it. I'm gonna suck at it. But like, no, I was actually good at it. And I never would have known that if I didn't go way outside my comfort zone with actually trying to do stuff like that myself. And now I love it. And the thing is also, you can't be confident if you take yourself too seriously, because your ego will bruise for anything. And that is the opposite of confidence. Confidence does not come from being the best at everything. It just comes from being comfortable with who you are, or like what and where you're at. In fact, you can be amazing at something and still not be confident within it, and still be terrified you're gonna fail the next time. That is not confidence. And if your ego is bruised because someone didn't laugh at your joke, newsflash, you're not confident. So you're gonna have to get used to failing, falling, making a fool of yourself, making jokes that no one thinks is funny except for you, and being like, well, that happened. And you know what? If you're telling a joke, no one really likes it, but you still like it, you're still allowed laughs. Like I was saying, with corny dads, corny moms, they laugh at their own jokes. And I think that's awesome. This is super important. When someone compliments you, believe them. Like I said, I love giving out compliments, but I don't give out fake compliments. Who does that? That's not normal, because you can always find something you like about someone. So take that to heart. And especially if you're receiving the same compliment over and over, why wouldn't you believe? Like, there's not a world conspiracy to make you believe you're good at drawing when you're not. That's ridiculous. If people are always like, oh my God, you're so good at drawing, you're good at drawing. Take it to heart. Remember that. Be like, yeah, I'm good at drawing. A thing that I would usually recommend to younger people, but that I also sometimes use myself, especially when I have like a lot of anxiety, is to sort of just pretend like you're someone else. Like a character or a celebrity or someone, just think like, okay, how would they react in a situation? How would they feel? How would they say hi to someone they don't know at a party? Just like be that person. And I do this sometimes also when I feel a bit ugly. I just like imagine that I look like Gigi Hadid, for example. Like if I'm just walking and I'm feeling super ugly, just be like, oh no, transform. What if I walked around with the face of Gigi Hadid? I'm looking people in the eye. And this is great for two things. First of all, you'll feel more confident and appear more confident. And second of all, you'll have less anxiety because you'll be more distant from what's happening, because it's not necessarily 100% yourself. It's a little bit a character. So if something is a little bit awkward, also, it's not 100% on you, and you don't have to take in all of that. And this next advice I've gotten from my colleagues several times, which is one of my favorite things. Wear eye patches like this, like they have on the racehorses. Other people don't exist. Other people's grades, other people's accomplishments, other people's waistlines. That has nothing to do with you. This is you. Your grades, your accomplishments, your fucking waistline. Nothing else matters. And if you have to, you know, like unfollow people on social media or like hide them, or delete Instagram in order to feel this way, then do it, because nothing is better than just running your own race. Lastly, I have to point out that even though I feel confident in my confidence advice, there might be situations, for example, if you're really struggling with social anxiety, agoraphobia, or PTSD, that it might be worth considering contacting a professional, especially if these advice don't work for you, or if you're just really feeling it and being really overwhelmed. Also, I want to note here, if you're neurodivergent, there might be added layers to this when it comes to confidence or social situations, where it also might be useful to go over some of these tips more in depth and discuss the nuances of these advice with like it doesn't have to be a professional. It can also be like a friend or family member, or someone who is neurotypical, to avoid any confusion. I would really hate it if some of my tips or advice came off in a way where they end up being more harmful than good, because that is not my intention. It's also, you know, not everything works in the same way for someone who's neurodivergent. Obviously, that's the whole point, right? So if my tips don't work for you in general, don't feel bad. But if you're neurodivergent, especially, don't feel bad, you know? That being said, I am gonna go edit this video now. So I'll talk to you soon. I hope these tips help you, and I wish you much luck, and I love you. Bye.